Our son is 22 and our daughter's 26. She bought a house in July. We know that moving into a new home always comes with unexpected costs right after you've probably depleted most of your funds. So for Christmas, we gave her $4,000. Our son, we gave a few different gifts, totaling somewhere around $800. Our daughter had to work on Christmas, but we did Christmas on the 26th, and she stayed with us for the holidays from then until yesterday. Our son still lives with us, and today he told us both that he didn't want to say anything while his sister was here, but his feelings were hurt by the disparity in the value of the gifts. We explained that the gifts we got him were tailored to his interest, but his sister had just passed a big life milestone where money's more important to her right now than sentiment. He said it's still hurtful because it still feels like we're more proud of her than him. My wife got really frustrated when he said that and asked why he would choose the least charitable interpretation of our actions. He said that's just how he felt and he couldn't control it. I said that we didn't give her money because we were more proud, but because we had experience being new homeowners and knowing that something always breaks in that first 6 months, and it's always expensive. He said that was all fine and good, but it still hurt to get a worse present and feel like an afterthought. My wife asked if he expected us to get him $4,000 worth of gifts. He said no, but he expected the gifts between him and his sister to be equal. My wife said that that's the same thing, and my son said it isn't. He said we could have given her the monetary equivalent of what we gave him. I told him that isn't really fair for him to decide how much we spend on someone else's gift. Furthermore, cash is less personal than gifts, so giving her the cash equivalent to what he got would be her getting the worst gift. He said we weren't listening to him, just justifying. My wife said we really don't need to justify anything, and he was entitled. At that point, he said he didn't want to talk unless everyone was civil, and he went to his room. He skipped lunch, breakfast for him today, and when he left for work, he didn't say goodbye, even though I was right by the door. My wife is irritated, and my son is clearly resenting us. I can't really decide if we're in the wrong here. On the one hand, we should be able to give our money to whomever we want. On the other hand, I never want to hurt my son's feelings. Were we wrong? I have no issue with you giving your daughter money. Heck, I have no issue with you giving her more money. Buying a house can suck and things pop up that you never expect, and everything is expensive. But you are the idiot for framing it as a Christmas gift, not a housewarming gift, and for the way you treated your son. He did right, didn't attack, just said, "These are my feelings." And your wife immediately started going on the offensive and belittling his feelings. Don't you want your son to feel comfortable coming to you with his problems, discussing his feelings with you? Why would he feel comfortable speaking to either of you now? I agree. I think the $4K should have been a housewarming gift and the kids' Christmas gifts equitable. You are the idiot, OP. I typically don't have much sympathy for people complaining about gift disparities, but in this case, you should have given your daughter a housewarming gift of cash, separate from the Christmas gift. You invite unfavorable comparisons by lumping a large amount of cash into her Christmas gift. It's not even a small amount either. I mean, $4K and $800 is a big difference. If you plan to give him $4K when he gets a house, then maybe no biggie. I also don't know why your wife is so irritated by him explaining the clear disparity. I'd expect my kids to be annoyed if I made one the sandwich and not the other. Not the idiot. I feel like people on here hate favoritism so much that they think you have to treat your kids equally every second of their lives. The fact is, when children are of different ages at different places in life, they're going to be going through different milestones at different times. For example, if one of your children had gotten their license that year and then you got them a car for Christmas, that doesn't mean you need to spend a car's worth of money on your other child that Christmas. That'd be ridiculous. As long as you treat the kids the same in the long run and help them out similarly for these milestones, it's okay for there to be a slight disparity every once in a while. I'm a little baffled at the gall of your son for bringing it up. The difference in situations should be very clear to him. The daughter's on her own. Money's tight after buying a house. Son lives at home and has the majority of his bills taken care of. It's a case in which the son shares in everything the parents have, but wonders why he can't have more from them. It is entitled behavior. I married my husband a year before my brother Nigel married his now ex, so I became very close with his wife, Emma. Both of my pregnancies coincided with hers. We live about 10 minutes away from one another, so our kids have grown up together more as siblings. Last summer, Nigel and Emma got a mutual divorce. They had grown apart and wanted different things out of life. Emma kept the house while Nigel moved. During the divorce, she kept her space from me, which I understood. The issue is that Emma always arranged the get-togethers with the extended family. Nigel left it all to her. So when I tried to get together with him so the two of us could visit and the kids could see each other, he was always too busy or didn't want to get together. My kids really missed their cousins. I tried asking my brother to just drop them off for an afternoon, but he understandably said he wanted to spend their time together. Nigel's introverted. We get along, but he tends to keep to himself. Eventually, Emma contacted me and said the kids really wanted to see my kids. I agreed to meet up. They all had a blast, and it was nice to see Emma again. We agreed to go back to meeting up once a week on the weeks that she had them, on the understanding that we'd never discuss Nigel, but we never did before anyway. I told Nigel and he was angry. He said I can't see his ex. I said it was for the kids, and if he met up with us more, not even once a week, just at least sometimes, I wouldn't do that. He said that the kids would get over it and that they'll live seeing each other on holidays. I asked if there was a reason he didn't want me hanging out with Emma, like she had done something to hurt him, and he said no. Their divorce was truly mutual and more his fault than anything, his words. He just feels like it's weird. I said if it makes him feel better, we can do it where Emma and I rotate taking the kids, so our contact is limited, but he said that I'm still talking to her. Ultimately, I told him he was being unreasonable. My kids, tween and pre-tween, have a bond with their cousins, similar ages. I have a bond with my niece and nephew. He doesn't have to give up his time with them or hang out with people more than he wants to, but he can't stop me from doing this. He didn't argue any further, but was clearly upset. I was talking about this with my husband's sister, who I'm also very close to. She said she'd 100% cut me off if I ever divorced my husband, and she understands why Nigel feels I should do the same with Emma. She asked how I'd feel if he did this with my husband, should we divorce, and I said I wouldn't mind. She pointed out I won't know how he feels until I'm in the middle of it. Am I the idiot? Wow, not the idiot. First of all, it's a bit sad that your brother puts his needs before those of his children. His children want to see their cousins. The divorce has probably been a big adjustment for them. Having family and friends your own age is already significant for children and plays an even greater role in situations where parents get divorced. The drama and problems between adults should not punish the kids. They're still cousins, and your brother's an idiot if he demands that they lose that relationship. As a person who was in your kid's situation, screw Nigel. When I was little, my dad left. My grandfather also stopped seeing us. My aunts and uncles and cousins disappeared from our lives. My grandmother was the only person who ever had continual contact with us. It left a lot of hurt and abandonment issues, which have permeated my whole life and personality. I have a lot of resentment and anger and feel like I don't belong or know where I'm from. Once I became an adult, I realized how angry I was at my aunts and uncles for taking my cousins away. My grandmother died on Boxing Day, and I saw my cousins for the first time in 25 years. It was incredibly hard for so many reasons. First, I was so angry to hear my cousin's eulogy and see how much alike she and I are. That bond we could have had was stolen from me when I was an innocent child because the adults in our lives couldn't act like adults. Not the idiot. Don't ever stop seeing your nieces and nephews. My daughter recently got married. I helped with the expenses. When we started hashing out the cost for the reception, I said I would pay for 2 bottles of wine per table, but they should have a cash bar. My daughter said that was tacky and made her look cheap, so I asked her what she wanted instead. She said open bar. So I did the math at 200 guests, and I figured 1 to 2 drinks each. I gave her enough extra money to purchase that much and told her I didn't want to rent the hall. I would write her a check for the cost, but I didn't want my name on any contracts. My wife said I was being an idiot, but ultimately agreed with me, just giving them the money and not getting involved. The reception went about like I expected. The insurance didn't cover intentional damage, and there was one DUI that thankfully was stopped before one friend got to the public roads, but not before he damaged multiple cars in the parking lot. That also caused several altercations that involved the police. All in all, your average intoxicated stupidity. The damages to the hall and the other stuff were actually several times more than my cost for the open bar. My daughter and son-in-law had to use a good chunk of their wedding gift money to pay. I feel like an idiot for not insisting that they limit the drinking, and they're calling me an idiot for making them use the money that they plan to use on their honeymoon and setting up their new home. Not the idiot. Seriously? So instead of going after their friend who caused the damage, they believe you should pay for it? The entitlement is strong with these two. An open bar doesn't automatically lead to issues. I had one at my wedding and it was just fine. It's not your fault that apparently her adult friends cannot drink responsibly. Huh? Your daughter thought 2 bottles of wine per table was tacky? Sounds like their frat-style party was super classy though. Also interesting how they're married and probably thinking they're real grown-ups now, but they believe mom and dad should pay for the damages that are a direct result of the free-flowing booze they provided? That's just mind-blowing. This doesn't sound like people who are ready for adulthood. However, all the guests that caused the damage should have to pay for the damages they caused. Another thing, the venue needs to get in trouble because it's their responsibility to ensure that the guests aren't overserved. Clearly the bartenders didn't care and just kept serving people who had already had too much. I've been a bartender for almost 10 years, and I've done hundreds of weddings. I get that it's a wedding and there's an open bar, but when it's time to cut someone off, you cut them off. If there are other people getting them drinks after you cut them off, it's your job as a bartender to make management and security aware of what's going on so that they can act accordingly. No way should your daughter have to pay for all those damages alone. She should countersue the venue for overserving, if possible, and make the guests who caused the damage pay up. Basically, my wife and I, 24 female, 29 male, bought our own house a couple of years ago and got 2 flatmates in to help pay the mortgage. 2 bedrooms plus an ensuite for us to use, 1 bedroom each and a shared bathroom for the 2 flatmates. One flatmate, Alex, pretty much keeps to herself. The other one, Caitlin, 32 female, is quite strongly opinionated and much more social. Caitlin's also child-free and occasionally very vocal about it, as in, it's not constant, but when something child-related comes on, she will interject without fail. Anyway, my wife and I finally succeeded in conceiving and decided to tell both of our flatmates 3 months into the pregnancy. We chose 3 months as we didn't want to announce it to anyone too early in case of a miscarriage, but we also wanted to give the flatmates plenty of time to find somewhere else if they understandably didn't want to live with a newborn. In the end, they both said that they wanted to stay flatting with us as the location is good and the house is a new build. Most houses in my country are cold and damp turn-of-the-century wooden cottages. Anyway, almost immediately after this, Caitlin began making snide remarks about our soon-to-be child. Things like, she should get a discount on rent for putting up with the baby. She's not going to get any sleep with the baby in the house. We should have told them we were trying, etc. At first, my wife just brushed those off, though I did have a word with Caitlin that they're not appreciated. However, the snide remarks became more frequent and rude, e.g. calling us selfish for bringing a child into the world, saying our social lives are going to be over, etc. After a couple of months of this, I decided that I didn't want to put up with this kind of negativity in what will be a very stressful, but also special time of my life. I consulted with my wife and with her support, have decided to kick Caitlin out of the house. As a flatmate without a formal signed rental agreement, she actually has no tenancy rights in my country, though I still opted to give her a month to find a new place as a sign of good faith. Caitlin is throwing a hissy fit, saying I'm being unfair. that since she pays rent, she should have a say in the direction of the household, and that we were selfish for having a kid without even telling the flatmates. Alex is on the fence, though she's expressed that I'm being a bit unfair to Caitlin. Wife, as I said, fully supports me, though she's less annoyed by her behavior than I am, if I'm being honest. So yeah, am I the idiot? There are two types of child-free people. One just doesn't wish to have children, but they accept that children are a part of life and usually enjoy interacting with kids. The second type hates children, thinks they shouldn't exist, and makes everyone around them miserable. Your flatmate is the latter. If she stayed, she would get even more obnoxious after the baby arrived. I mean, how dare she say you should consult her about your family planning? Kick her out in good conscience, not the idiot. I agree, as long as no laws are being broken. Renting a room in someone's house does not give you the right to dictate how they choose to live. Just because someone is anti-child, anti-vax, anti-pet, or anti-pasta, they don't have the right to expect others to live by their personal viewpoints. Your peace of mind in your house comes first, and she sounds insufferable. Yeet her. Also, she was informed plenty of times, chose to stay anyway, and is now an idiot about it. I say this as someone who would be horrified to live with someone else's newborn also, and fully sympathize with the sentiment. But really, what is she even aiming for here? To snide, comment, and bully you into a termination? Absolutely insane. I've, 40, been with my husband, 48, for 20 years. Married for 16 with a teen and a toddler together. Husband has a daughter, Sam, 25, from a previous relationship. Her mother passed away when she was 6. Sam and I do have a close relationship. Context: my wedding ring was meant to be given to Sam's mother. She didn't want to get married but wore it anyway for about a year. I didn't find out about this until 5 years into our relationship. The ring belonged to my husband's grandmother and mother. Sam came to me recently and said she wanted the ring. She's getting married and said it'd be a nice way to be close to both her mothers. I love the ring and I love Sam more. I spoke to my husband about it and he was so against it. He said his mother told our team that she'd get the ring. My daughter does love the ring, and he got upset and then told my daughter, who got upset too. I told him that it meant a lot to Sam. He seemed to back off and finally agreed but said, "It was my mother's. She wants it to go to our teen." His argument is that both have an equal right to the ring. He said it's my choice but knows he and his mother will be upset if I give it to Sam. Mother-in-law likes Sam, but she does prefer my middle child, as she's her first official grandchild, aka born when my husband and I were married. I might get another ring. My husband and I are renewing next year, so I will probably get another ring then. So am I the idiot for giving Sam my wedding ring against my husband's wishes? Not the idiot, OP. The ring should go to Sam. It's a very sweet gesture that you consider her as the first daughter of your husband. It's fair and she'll be grateful to you forever. Your mother-in-law shouldn't have spoken out of place, promising the ring to your teen daughter. It was not cool. What you can do is have a piece of jewelry that you can get and promise to your teen, something special that will only be hers. But I applaud you for putting your stepdaughter first and not separating her from your family. Talk to your husband about it. He needs a lesson in compassion. The very fact that you typed this, "I love the ring, I love Sam more," entitles you to a lifetime get-out-of-idiot jail card. LOL. Give Sam the ring. It's a connection to both of her moms. You can give your other daughter your vow renewal ring someday. Not the idiot, and also an amazing mom and stepmom.